Well, hello, fellow runners. I hope you are all having a good day. Want to continue part two in the 3P series, if you will. So yesterday we spoke about the first P, that being purpose, and that's having a understanding before you lace up your shoes the purpose of that workout. If you don't know the purpose, don't lace them up. And if you haven't listened to the little note of the first P, then I highly recommend it. Although that may be biased to say, but I highly recommend it. Let's go into the second P, and that is perspective. And I think it's really important to have perspective of where you are. And this probably focuses on training as well as racing. But let's just use the example of racing. Um, and let's use the example of, let's say, the marathon. Okay. So let's say that you get to the half marathon mark and you are tired and you start to say to yourself, man, I am tired. I shouldn't feel this tired. And you start that negative focus or negative energy, if you will, on how tired you are. And you start to turn that into, how am I going to finish 13 more miles? And you start to get really negative upon yourself. And that's where perspective comes in. Instead of looking at it that way, you're tired. You shouldn't be overly tired because you should have run your pace, but you just ran 13 miles. You just ran a half. Shouldn't you be tired? I mean, ask yourself that. Of course you should. So when you get to that point, so let's say the half marathon in the race and you're tired, instead of looking at it as a negative, just accept it. Have perspective. You know what? I should be tired. I just ran 13 miles and I have 13 to go. I've trained for this. So instead of it being a negative or a liability, it becomes more just an understanding of kind of what your body has just done, what you're asking it to do, and it's normal. It's expected behavior. Um, I give you another example for those who aren't distance people. I remember like racing on the track. After college, I didn't run in college. I took a little bit of break, and then I got back in, and I wanted to beat some 800-meter times. So I would get to 200 meters and I'd run pretty hard. It's all relative. First 200 meters and I'd be tired. And at first I used to think like, wow, I can't believe how tired I am. How am I going to get through 600 more meters? But once I shifted that focus to, hey, I just ran a pretty decent 200 meters. I have 600 more meters to go. It just put it in a little bit better perspective. So just that's the advice. Or if it's a workout, if you're doing hill repeats, say for example you have 10 by quarter mile hill and you're 4 into it, and that's probably the hardest part because you're kind of in the valley, right? You're not quite you're almost halfway through the workout, but you still have a lot to go. Don't focus on how am I going to get 6 more of these done. Focus on the reality that I've just done 4. I should be tired, and say that to yourself. That doesn't mean that if you're overly tired at 4 when you have 6 more to go because you've ignored what your coach has told you to do and you've run too hard. That's a different story. But as long as you're running within what you're supposed to do, then it's expected behavior. And I think that's probably a good term to keep in mind. Expected behavior, expected feeling. You should feel tired. When you get to 7 or 8, you should feel tired. So that is the second P. And then tomorrow is probably going to be the most important one, and that's going to be perception and the perception that we have about ourselves as individuals and what we're capable of doing. So, on that note, I appreciate your time. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and I look forward to chatting with you on Facebook. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.